The box. You opened it. We came.
It's just a puzzle box!
Oh no. It is a means to summon us.
Who are you?
Explorers in the further regions of experience. Demons to some. Angels to others. Attention, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much for that heartwarming welcome. I really appreciate it. And April 29th edition of the Get Thrashed Podcast, the very first episode. Tonight we'll be talking about the history, the story of Bestial Karnage. We open up the show with Black Thrash Attack by yours truly, Bestial Karnage. And that second theme we had today is by your good friends of Death Blow, Salt Lake City Thrash. If you haven't checked them out, go ahead, check them out. Go ahead and follow them as Death Blow Official on Instagram. They're on tour right now, so if you are in a place they are on tour, go ahead and support them. Great guys. Well, let's start off this episode today. I was recording this episode about 2 weeks ago, but after finding out the tragedy that happened last weekend, one of our good friends, one of our ex-drummers, ex-members of Bestial Karnage has gone on to a better life. So I decided to scrap it all the way. A part that I got down with the flu, got over with it, and now here we are re-recording it a week later. So let's go ahead and get started with the history of Bestial Karnage. So in order to tell the story, we have to go back to the year 2012 actually. That summer, we got one of the best shows of the year. The Slayer, Exodus, and Suicidal Tendencies actually played at the Great Salt Air. Do any of you guys remember that badass of a show? I remember going with a really good friend of mine from high school, actually. I was super stoked. The pit, the brutality, the thrashing, and the bashing. Exodus opened that night with Rob Dukes. He gives it that modern brutality. Crazy that I've seen Exodus multiple times, and I have seen them with Dukes and Zetro multiple times. Suicidal played next. Right after Suicidal played their set, while I was moshing, I remember I spotted in the corner of my eye a patch on a denim jacket, or vest, or battle jacket, like we thrashers like to say. I know you're gonna ask, like, what the fuck is so special about a damn patch on a denim jacket? But let me tell you, to me, it was because of that specific patch is how it all started. So as I mentioned, that patch, it was a patch by a band called Ángeles del Infierno. I knew there and then, I said to myself, another satanic Hispanic, as Jake from Busy God would say. So I went up to the dude and said, hey dude, what's your name? You live here? In my head I'm saying, there's another Hispanic thrasher. So excited. We exchanged info, bought us some water bottles, and since then, the rest is history. We would become best friends. Daniel, if you're listening, here are your flowers, my dude. As our friendship grew stronger, I ended up asking him one night if he played in any instruments or played in any other band, which he replied to in a heavy accent at the time. He said, the guitar. I had really started making scenarios in my head while explaining to him. He smiles at me, in which he replies, fuck it, let's do it. We continued to attend concerts and shows and local shows, traveled all over for festivals. The day of the week didn't even matter to us. Sometimes we would even attend shows 4 to 5, 6 days a week. Talk about being a party thrasher, you know, fucking eating pizza and drinking beer. As about almost a year and a half or so had passed, we ended up attending a show exactly on my birthday weekend. The famous concert where Toxic Shock, as we were calling it before it was called Bestial Karnage. That's where we actually would add the third piece of the 4-piece puzzle of what was called Bestial Karnage. This third piece would become a very important member of the band. At the show that night, we saw Drunk as Shit, Deathblow, and Toxic Holocaust. We all know who the fuck they are already, so I don't have to explain that to you guys. That hot and summer evening, we got super drunk, and that is how we went up to Zach and asked him if he was in any other band, to which he replied, fuck no, but want to start a new one? Some time passed as we all kept in touch during that summer, but sometime during late summer or early fall, Daniel and I actually attended a local show. Fuck, I can't remember what band played, but it was a local show, actually at the loading dock. I know the real OGs know what's up. That is when the fourth and final piece of the Bestial Karnage puzzle actually fell into place. That night, Andy came up to us and started asking if we were at some shows during the 90s. That's when I told Andy, hey bro, I wasn't even around or even born at that time. Even if I was probably still in diapers. I remember his eyes open wide and he says, oh shit, you guys are basically kids. As we all laughed out loud together. That is when Daniel turned to me and introduced me to Andy. The funny thing though is I remember turning to Daniel and saying, this guy? Man, the dude doesn't even look like a thrasher. To what Daniel actually responded to me, oh trust me dude, this guy's been in dozens of bands. He's actually really well known in playing like black metal bands. So he'll give it that extra touch of blackness and brutality. That way we can make what was called Black and Thrash here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I remember I asked Andy that same night. I was like, "Hey, dude, so what kind of metal are you into? What kind of bands have you played in?" To which he replied, "War metal," as we all laughed. Andy was such a character, but the dude was actually really a fucking beast in the drums. Now, some time passed, but we actually kept in touch. But now we actually go into the year 2015. We actually started jamming sometime in late summer, early fall. But I still remember I couldn't make it to the very first jam session we had. As remember, there was a video of that first practice going around. From there, we started practicing 2 to 3 times a week. Maybe, I can't remember. But it was sometimes like 2 to 3 times a week. Sometime that fall, Daniel and myself actually went to see Havoc, the thrash metal band. That night, our friends from Toxic Dose, a local thrash metal band, was local support for the band. There's a dude called Jordan. He does the JRC events. He's actually the one that brings all the bands from outside. Thanks to him, we got our foot in the door and actually playing at the Metro Music Hall. I still remember he actually came up to us and asked us, "So, can you guys play our next show?" To what we asked, "What show?" He takes out his phone and showed us what he actually was cooking up as the next thrash metal show in Salt Lake City. I still remember when he took out his phone and he turned it to us and said, "This is the next band that I'm bringing in." I don't know if you guys know, but Nervosa is a thrash metal band from Brazil, and it's an all-female band, a three-piece. I still remember when Jordan said, "Well, if you guys are ready by then, I can put you guys on the bill." So put Daniel and I look at each other and we go, "Dude, that is fucking cool." Like, I remember I told you about this band like a while back. And you said you know them, obviously, because we're on thrash metal, but I've never seen anybody or anyone talk about Nervosa here in Salt Lake, at least at that time anyway. So, some time passed, and now it's 2016. The time is getting really close to actually to play our show. To which the day came, which was February 26, 2016. We were so nervous, but at the same time we were so excited. Now, I don't know who or why so many bands were stacked into that bill. But it was just like maybe like 7 or 8 bands, I can't remember. We just had so many fucking bands on that bill. I remember Daniel, Zach, and I were always fucking joking around. We saying, "Oh yeah, man, by the time we play, fucking a lot of the people would be tired of us, you know, or being there standing up and shit, you know." We actually had no idea that kind of response we got that night. It was fucking awesome. It was brutal. We were the band. I think a lot of people said, "Hey, you guys outplayed Nervosa," which to us was an honor because we were just our very first show, a brand new band, and we were co-headlining with Nervosa. I still remember we played that fucking set. We had people jumping off the stage. We had people moshing. People handing us beer cans and just trying to keep us hydrated on stage. I remember the stage show presence. A lot of people were just amazed. You know, I'm not stroking my own ego or anything, but I remember one of the reviewers for, I want to say it's a Slug magazine. He had written an article about every single band for that night, and I remember he wrote a 2-paragraph, 3-paragraph, whatever it was, where he actually mentioned our band, and he actually gave us our flowers that night, which is really fucking cool. So I can't remember who's the one that wrote it, but if you ever hear this same episode, this podcast, cheers to you, my dude. I remember the crowd reaction to us was really fucking cool, and automatically we were asked for t-shirts, demos, and we were just amazed, you know. Later on the road, we actually had merchandise, but at the time we didn't have anything. We were just our very first show. We didn't know we were going to get that bunch of response, such a response that we had. Remember, we played a 4-song set with us 4-piece. I remember a lot of people shouting on there saying, "Where is your bassist? Where is your bassist?" And for the longest time, we could never get a bass player. I think they're just extinct by now. I'm kidding. Shout out to all the bass players. For the longest time, we just played with no bass. Just 2 guitars, drums, and vocals. Wherever we fucking went. Whether it was Reno, whether it was Arizona, whether it was Wyoming, Colorado, Elko. We never had a bass player. There was a short period of time where Gunner from Dark Lord, she's the one that actually played bass for a handful of shows for us. I'm really thankful for what she did. But anyway, talking about that show we had that 26th of February of 2016, I remember we ended up finishing our set. The crowd wanted more. We only had 4 songs that we had nailed through from beginning to end. And we ended up going to the VIP right above the stage, and the girls from Nervosa were there. The girls were actually amazed at what our first show was. I remember when we first went up there, they started clapping and they were like, "Wow, you guys were amazing. You guys, this is your first show and you guys did that already?" I was like, "Yeah, it's our very first show." And they were so glad that they remember us actually from going to the festival in California where we saw Municipal Waste, Terrorizer. I'm trying to remember what other bands actually played on that bill, but it was a festival. And Nervosa played, but they played like really, really early, maybe at like 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon. But anyway, we ended up kicking in with them in the patio area, and that's when we actually, Daniel and I went up to them and told them that we were excited to play with them on the Utah date for February 26th on their tour here in the U.S. And they're like, "Oh, okay, well, good to meet you guys and this and that, right?" And then we talked for a bit more, exchanged information on Facebook and Instagram, and they actually remembered us when we ended up playing here. So it was it's a real proud moment of my life. I'm sure it's a really proud moment of the guys as well. And I want to dedicate this small episode. I try to do it as unfiltered. I like things that are raw. I don't like to clean up, have stuff perfectly, because I believe we're humans and not everything is perfect. So there's a lot of pauses and a lot of thinking while I'm speaking here, because I'm just shooting straight from my mind, straight from my head. The beginning of how it actually all started with Bestial Karnage. But yeah, so like I was saying, it all started off with just going to a show, a specific patch I saw by a band that I knew, and me just getting to meet somebody else the same age as me that liked the same style, you know, is the same ethnicity, from the same place. You know, it was just amazing how we all just meet people who are meant to be in our life, whether it's a short period of time or a long period of time. You know, ever since 2012, Daniel and I just have been best friends, you know, and I'm really, really good friends with his lady as well. And as I know we don't hang out as much as we used to, but he's got a family now. You know, we all grow older. And I want to dedicate this very second episode to our late great friend Andy. You motherfucker, you cocksucker, like you used to say to all of us. And remember, when we say something like that, it's not being homophobic or anything, it's just guys being guys. So I hope nobody gets offended over what was said here on this very first episode. And I want to dedicate the very first episode to our friend Andy. Rest in peace, you old fucking goat. You'll be missed. Cheers. You guys have a good night.